So this video is going to cover our exponential rules. And let's talk about what an exponent is real quick. An exponent is made up of a base and a exponent or a power. So b to the x, where b is the base and x is our power. And the power tells you how many times to write the base. So for instance, if I wrote 5 to the third, this is essentially 5 times 5 times 5. And so an exponent is a shorthand way to write repeated multiplication. And so we can create rules based off of this. And we start off with what we call our product rule. And the word product means multiply. So when we talk about the product rule for exponents, we would say something like, if they're the same base, for instance, if I have 5 to the third multiplied by 5 to the fourth, then what you essentially have is, in this first set, you have 5 times 5 times 5. In the second set, you have 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And so this is equal to, you count the number of fives, you just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's actually equal to 5 to the 7th. So an easier way to write this would be, we write it like this. If you have an exponent written a to the n times a to the m, which means they have the exact same base but different exponents, the product of them is equal to a to the n plus m. The power rule says if I take a number a and I raise it and it has an exponent, or if I raise it to a power such as a to the n, this is just equal to a to the n. Or in this case, it would be like saying 5 to the fourth is equal to 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Now, the power rule for products and quotients. So the power rule says this. If I have something like a to the n raised to the m power, then this is just equal to a to the n times m. So essentially, if I have 5 squared raised to the third power, that means I have 5 times 5, 5 times 5, 5 times 5. So that means I have 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 3 times. I have this squared term 3 times. You notice how many 5s do I get there? This is just 5 to the 6. So what this is saying is that I can just multiply by raised to a power. The quotient rule works the same way, except the quotient rule says if I have a to the m divided by a to the n, this is just a to the m minus n. You can subtract these. So the quotient rule is actually the opposite of the addition rule. And that's because you can see it like this. Let's say I have, let's have 5 cubed on top over 5 squared on the bottom. Well, what that sets up is, top is 5 times 5 times 5. The bottom is 5 times 5. Remember, these are going to just cancel because they're the same. So literally what you did, you subtract the bottom from the top and you got 5 to the first. Zero exponent rules says that any number a to the 0 is always equal to 1. So any number I raise to 0 power, for instance 5 to the 0, that equals 1. Negative exponents, there are no such thing as a negative exponent in exponents. So here's how we fix that. A to the negative n is equal to, you always flip 1 over a to the n. Or you could have 1 over a to the negative n. This is equal to a to the n. You always flip negative exponents. So here's an example. We have 4 to the x times 2 to the x. Notice that these are not the same bases, but you have the same exponents. To make this work, we need to get everything to the same base. So here's what we can do. 4 can actually be written in terms of 2 times 2, which is an exponent in itself. And then you have 2 to the x, which is just 2 to the x. So this right here can be written like this. Notice that this right here is 2 squared to the x times 2 to the x. This is the power rule. So this is 2 times 2 to the x times 2x. Same basis, so you're using your product rule now. You can write the base one time, and then remember we add these, so you have 2x plus an x, because you're multiplying them. The 2 to the 2x plus an x, well, that's just 2 to the 3x. Here's the final answer. And again, this all works because I can rewrite the 4 in terms of base 2. You want to write things in the same base. So 4 can be written as 2 times 2. We call that base 2. And so once you do that, you use your other rule. So this is me rewriting it. This is the power rule. This is the product rule with the power rule. Next one is the quotient rule. Here, same base. So here's what I can do. This is 3 to the x. And then what happens now is this number right here, you subtract it. So this is just 3 to the x minus 2. And this last one is what we call base e. And in base e, this first part right here, power rule. So e to the 4x times e to the x squared. Again, same base, and you're multiplying, so it's the product rule. So you're going to add these. So you get e to the 4x plus x squared.